Easy now. Papa got things making headlines.
Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. I'ma have to cut you off, like right now. You see, I don't want to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they ain't finna change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and a color.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast, powered by The Athletic. Shout out to the company. My name is Michael-Shawn and I'm here with my co-host, Christopher Kidd. Make sure you follow us both up on the tweet machine. You guys know where to follow me, at Mike Dugar, Mikedugar. I am still verified. Shout out to Elon. Also, shout out to our YouTube subscribers, Seahawks Man, the number 2 man on YouTube. We appreciate you. We appreciate the love. Subscribe. Chris, talk to him.
What is good, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at CKIDD206, and that's CKid206. Also, tell Mike, for our YouTube viewers, to take them damn swim goggles off his goddamn face, man.
I'm loving my look with the glasses and the do-rag. Everybody on YouTube can see, you know, I can't see anything in these, so I'm actually going to take these off.
What an ass, man. What an ass.
Yeah, I'm thinking them cheap ass glasses that I got from the dollar store. The dollar store, by the way, that where not everything is just $1 no more.
$1.25, baby.
Yeah, I went in there to get like some water or something. I forget what I needed. Either way, I was expecting that to be $1, and it was not. She was like $1.25. So I said, "Excuse me, this is $1."
They lying now.
So when they do that shit,
I think over the summer, if I'm not mistaken.
How you change the prices at the dollar store? What? It threw me off. Sorry. Anyway, we're Seahawks lost to the Raiders in overtime. It was actually a very entertaining game, like objectively.
Fun as hell, man.
Yeah, very like. If I didn't care who won, I mean, I really don't. But you guys know what I mean. Like if I was just there to watch football, that was a very fun game. Big plays on defense, big plays on offense. It's just a lot of good stuff. 40-34 is the final. The Seahawks are 6-5, and just like that, they are out of the playoff picture. Not that it matters. There's 6 games left, but yeah, 6-5. They have the 8th best record right now in the NFC. Yeah, every team in the NFC East is in the playoffs right now, which is pretty crazy. That probably won't hold true because I think a lot of these teams have to play each other again. And I think in the case of Washington and Washington and the Giants, they have to play each other twice remaining. So some of that will even out, which is why I don't think it's that big of a deal. However, it just shows you how quickly things can change when you put together 1 or 2 bad performances in a row, which is what the Seahawks have done. And you guys know, listening to the show with me and Chris, we're not really big old your record is everything, just like in a vacuum. I do think that your point differential, as always, is a lot more telling, at least in terms of predicting what's going to happen going forward. Where the Seahawks at in point differential right now? I didn't even check before we came on. Let's see, week 12. Blah, blah. Yeah. See, they're 12th. Right now, they're still plus 10, which means you're like a decent team, unless you're the Jaguars, who are somehow have a better point differential than the Seahawks, plus 12. The Jags are just a very strange team. But I do think that at 6-5, you know, I talked to some guys in the locker room as normal, and they were in generally good spirits. It kind of depends on the guy. You know, some guys don't want to do big picture after the game. They're just like, dude, ask your question so I can go home to my family or whatever. You know, some guys are really willing to take a big step back. You know, it just depends on the dude. You know, like Shelby was like, you know, like we got to fix some stuff, you know, but you know, we got the guys, you know, to get it done. Same thing with Cody Barton. He's like, man, I know today wasn't greatest, but you know, I feel good. You know, like I trust the guys. I know we're going to hold each other accountable and fix what needs to get fixed. I do think that was a very important thing for him, the word to use. Like guys are going to look at each other and say, hey, this is wrong. We're going to fix it. And that really is just how you get better. Screaming at each other and shit don't do anything. Although it can be, you know, what's the word I want to use? Cathartic? Is that a word? Help me out. Is that a word?
I'm trying.
Yeah, cathartic. Yeah.
New one for me.
Providing psychological relief through the open expression of strong emotions. So yeah, cathartic. Here we go. Hey, word of the day. But some guys just like, man, look, we 6-5, whatever. We just need to beat whoever's on the schedule next week and focus on that. DK is good for that. I didn't talk to him today. I didn't even see him in the locker room. But he's usually good for that. You get my point. But generally speaking, no panic in there. More just frustration, disappointment. No one wants to lose on the game winner. That hurts. Watching somebody go 86 yards to beat you. But I do think, Chris, at 6-5, put it this way, why they are 6-5, there are some things that concern me. And we'll get to some of it in the questions that people ask. But I do think to go to the defensive side first, Chris, they don't get a pass rush on anybody. And that's a little bit of a problem. I usually do the stats a little later. You want to hear a stat though?
Throw it to me.
All right. So this is according to True Media. The Seahawks have faced over the last 2 weeks, small sample, but a relevant sample, 69 dropbacks in the past 2 weeks. They have in that span 3 quarterback hits, just 3. Max Crosby had 5 today. At least I think he did. I know he had 5 pressures, but either way, 3 quarterback hits and 69 dropbacks. They have 1 sack in that span, and it came today when Poona Ford beat some right guard or whoever for a sack on Derek Carr. That I don't care what else your team does really well, that it can be a fatal flaw going forward. And you can see it. You can see it against against the Bucks. You can see it today against the Raiders. If you can't affect the quarterback, I don't think you need sacks all the time, but you do need to hit them. If you can't affect the quarterback, the worst of the worst teams can get to you. I don't care if they start in Zach Wilson on the other side. If you can't get to Zach Wilson, he will throw touchdowns against you. I know it doesn't feel like he will because he got barbecued all last week, but he can, the worst of the worst can kill you. Offensively, Chris, for some reason, these guys just love sitting on the bench on 3rd down, man. That is, I guess on 4th down, they be sitting down, but it's not like the numbers are really bad. Me and Chris, we checked this before we came on. The Seahawks on 3rd down are not, let me double check these while we're on the air. They are 10th in 3rd down conversion rate, like the highest rate. That's 42%. That's really good. The league average is about 39%. So they are above average 3rd down conversion team, even on 3rd and long, which is, I think, 3rd and 7 or longer is how that's defined. They're 12th, at 27%. 27% is not great, but, it's again, it's above the league average. League average is 24%. So they're above average 3rd and long team. Real quick, Chris, you want to guess who's number 1 on 3rd and long?
Number 1 and 3rd and long?
I'll be able to guess. I'll only give you 1 shot.
Oh, thanks. I probably won't get it. You know what? Ooh, maybe the Eagles?
That's a good guess. It is not. It's the Chiefs.
Vikings. Oh, it's the Chiefs. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you 1 shot.
You can give me 1 shot. Doesn't mean I'm just gonna not throw out other teams.
Yeah, to be fair, on 3rd and long, the Chiefs convert 48% of the time,
and they all go to Travis Kelce.
That is an insane number of 3rd down conversion rates on 3rd and long. Anyway, so the Seahawks statistically are fine, but you guys are watching the games. You can see what we're seeing. They're just not consistently moving the chains on 3rd downs, and and it can really, really hurt you. Like today, for example, they were 3 of 9, right? They converted a 3rd and 1 QB sneak, a 3rd and 1 that play action to Travis, which is a really good play, and then a 3rd and 4 on a long ball to DK. Another just really good play. 3 really good plays there, and then the other 6 failures are all 3rd and 5 or longer. Pretty much those obvious passing situations.
Yeah.
So you got obvious passing situations where you're not moving the sticks consistently, and they have little lulls like that in these games. So you got, Chris, a team that will have stretches where it can't stay on the field on 3rd down, and then on defense, they're not affecting the quarterback. Those are 2 reasons to be concerned. Even if big picture, it's not panic button-y time, which I think is fair, still a decent team going forward. Those 2 things that get you smoked in a late game against a competent team. Not being able to affect the quarterback, and then not being able to stay on the field on third down. Those two things, I really can't overstate this enough. You can lose to the worst team in the league if you can't convert on third down and you can't affect the quarterback. So, like, yeah, Chris, why they're 6-5 right now? That's a little not even a little. That those two things are very concerning for me.
Well, with the pass rush, you would think that. So a few years back, they were able to figure out, okay, we have to make a move and bring someone in to revamp the pass rush, and that was a Carlos Dunlap.
Mm-hmm.
This season, though, I get why they didn't, because they have the talent. You look at this roster, and you've said this a couple of times, this roster definitely has the talent to go out there and have guys with 6-7 sacks. Darrell Taylor, a guy that is brought up with Twitter questions that hasn't really had this season that everyone has expected him to. Nwosu, he has had up and down season. It's just consistency, right? And those two dudes alone, you would say they could give you 7.5, maybe 9 sacks in a season. While Nwosu is almost there, Darrell Taylor has not been that guy. You also look at maybe the defensive tackle position in Poona Ford, Al Wood. Those guys aren't going to get you sacks, but they definitely open up opportunities for other guys to get sacks. And you're just not seeing that consistency at that position in the pass rush. And then you have to also think about, well, if you're not getting to the quarterback with 4-man, what about the blitz? We talked about it 2 weeks ago with the Bucs. They didn't even blitz my man Tom Brady in the first half. They were just like, nah, we're not going to even try Tom. And I get it. You want to see if your guys can get home. Because one thing that coming into that game that everyone knew was that they sucked at trying to run the football or just doing it altogether. They were going to dunk it, and the Seahawks were prepared for that. But when they go out there and control the line of scrimmage and run the football the way they did, that just makes the game plan that much more harder for the defense to execute, because now they're doing something that you didn't even plan for, and they're whooping your ass at it. So now you're fighting another battle that you didn't expect to fight. And that that did happen on Sunday against the Raiders. We're not getting beat by Devontae Adams. If I'm the Seahawks, that's what they were thinking. Devontae Adams is not going to cook us for, I think Deshaun said, 10 plus catches, 160 yards, and like 2 touchdowns. That didn't happen. But you know what did happen? Josh Jacobs just had a career night. And I tweeted out the players that have had career nights against the Seahawks. There's a lot of players out in the league that have had career nights against the Seahawks, and they still got to go up against CMC, who found a new home with the 49ers. So if you're looking for someone to start, what is that, week 15? I'll give you a hint. If you got Christian McCaffrey, make sure he's playing. But needless to say, again, against the Raiders, they had a game plan where they wanted to do one thing, which was slow down Devontae Adams, which is, I get it, but they regressed in the run game. The same problems that we saw against the Buccaneers reared its ugly head again. Guys not filling run gaps, missing tackles, all that combined, and you have Josh Jacobs running for a career high and ending the game on a huge run. And that is
a run for the win. That's crazy.
Yeah, that it is crazy, but I'm not gonna lie, I could sense it. I really was thinking he gonna pop one. I want to tweet it, but I also didn't want to be that asshole that puts that tweet out and then it happens, and then everyone's like, "Oh, you suck, Chris. Why would you say that?" Blah blah blah. So I just kept quiet. But I figured he was gonna break one. I didn't think it'd be in overtime. I was, in overtime, I'm thinking, oh, the Seahawks have a chance if they get the ball first. That didn't even matter because they had a chance. You can argue, oh, did DK make the catch? The ball was moving. If the ball is moving, that's not a completed catch. Someone hit me and was like, oh, the refs made 2 bad calls. I said, hey, the refs can't fill run lanes. And he was like, fair point. So I'm bringing all that up to say that, yeah, that's one big problem is the pass rush. And when your game plan is set to do something and a team does something completely different, that kind of falls on the coaching. Like they're preparing these guys to stop one thing, and then the offense comes out and does something else. Well, there needs to be a transition or a moment where you guys have time, a timeout, where you guys collectively come together and figure out a way, okay, how can we slow this down? And they never figured it out. They really didn't. There was a fun stat that they, on the TV broadcast, where they talked about in the third quarter, Josh Jacobs goes crazy. Like his yards per carry is like 7.1 in the third quarter. And you kind of saw that he just kept getting better as the game went on. And usually that happens. Defenses get tired too. It's not as if these guys are energized throughout the whole game and they can maintain it, especially when they're on the field so much. They gave up 40 points today. And we talked about it off wax. Mike, you said, I mean, the Seahawks scored 34. There's no reason why they shouldn't have won this game. But when they can't get a pass rush, they can't stop the run, what is there left to do? And then another thing is, we're still waiting on that moment where Geno leads this team in the fourth quarter to a victory. Granted, that throw was low to DK. DK has to make that catch. You get both hands on it. You gotta catch the ball, man. And then that last play where it's 3rd and 10, you're looking to pass it. Max Crosby just causes mayhem in the backfield. Not able to throw the football. You're forced to punt. Either you got to throw it away or you got to make some magic. Mike, you say you just got to make some shit happen. And that's what Geno hasn't done yet. No, for real. He just hasn't done that yet. And this was the perfect opportunity to do so. Yep. At home in Seattle, overtime, the Seahawks get their stop defensively. Okay, now it's the Seahawks' turn. Unfortunately, it just didn't go that way. And Geno knows that. I think he talked about it in the press, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to learn from this. He's going to get better, but he literally had the opportunity to show, okay, I can be the guy to go down and give you guys a W, be the reason why the Seahawks won the game. And he hasn't been that guy quite yet. Yes, there's been games where he might have handed off to Kenneth Walker and they put the stamp and ended the game with a nice run, but he hasn't delivered that, ooh, Geno just went down and scored and there's only 10 seconds left. And that was his time to do it on Sunday against the Raiders. So that's something that I don't want to say is concerning, but that's something to keep in mind because you look at the schedule, he might be in a shootout against the 49ers. He might be in a shootout against the Chiefs. And if it comes down to, okay, Geno, the ball's in your hands, a minute 55, can you go down and score and win the game? That is still kind of up in the air. And at this rate, we're 12 weeks into the season. Granted, you haven't had to see it much because they're usually beating teams, but in this scenario, it was lined up perfectly for Geno to deliver. And I'm not saying that is the biggest problem, but it's definitely something that if you're a Seahawks fan, you should be thinking about. You should be thinking, okay, when are we going to see Geno do it? Because Geno even said there's going to be other opportunities where it arises. I hope it doesn't. I want the Seahawks to just blow teams out and run the ball how they want to run it, be able to throw the ball when they need to throw it. You saw him after he threw a pick. What does Geno do? He responds well. He goes back down and makes plays. But again, in that fourth quarter and that overtime, you got to deliver. You got to be that guy that says, oh, yeah, we win because of Geno.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a concern, but it definitely it's the missing thing from the magical Geno season that this is the I ain't right back season, to give the season a nickname. And that's the thing that's missing. It's that signature, I guess what I'll call it, the signature drive. There's been some very good ones. He's iced some games with his arm before, for sure, but nothing like, hell, Derek Carr done it 2 weeks in a row.
Good point. Yeah.
And he necessarily didn't, go throw a game-winning touchdown necessarily, but he's put his team in position. He went and tied the game at 30.
That was huge.
Yeah, the big time drive. So yeah, that's the thing that's missing. But I think when I was leaving the press box, or at least to go down to the locker room, I was like, man, I was rewatching the Josh Jacobs walk-off. We got that for our YouTube viewers. You can throw that in here. I was rewatching this play, and I was like, yo, this is pretty bad. Like, to go, you can play it. Like, to go 86 yards, does anybody even touch him? Does Josh Jones I don't know if Josh Jones got a
finger
hand on him, man. Like, that's 86 yards untouched. And this is not Josh Jacobs ain't fast. What did he run at the combine? Probably
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 guy.
4.4 maybe.
80. I don't even know if he was 4.4 guy. He was not very fast. The point being, like, I was like, oof. Just a disastrous day, for the defense.
Hey, shout out that ref though. Look at my boy at the bottom of the screen. You see him, Mike?
No, I'm looking at the. Did Josh Jacobs even run at the combine? I don't even see a 40 time here. Oh, maybe he did. I don't know. Anyway, not too important. But yeah, that I was watching that and I was like, I don't know how the defense got back to this place against the run. That looked like the defense against the Raiders, or excuse me, against the Lions. That looked like the defense against the Saints, man. And the imagery was just crazy. I wrote about it after the game a little bit too. You just see the Raiders just partying in the end zone, and 100 yards away, I just see Clint Hurt just walking just by himself to the locker room, and it's just like I really just wish I could have been inside that dude's head just to see that, because he got his team was getting whipped up front, and that's where he's a D-line guy, so that's got to be just super 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 disappointing. But yeah, on the Geno front, that is to nitpick a little bit. I think the third down thing is a little bit bigger, but that goes to it, right? Because what happens in a game-winning drive? You usually are throwing when the defense knows you're going to throw, right? Yeah. Which is essentially what a third and long is as well. It's just higher stakes in the closing game. But you got to be able to throw in those obvious throwing situations consistently. And it's not just everything has to hold up. The pass protection has to be consistent. This is a bad day for Abe and Abe Lucas in that regard. Go Cougs still, even though what happened over the weekend. But yeah, it all just speaks to the some of the things that have put them at 6-5, particularly those 5 losses. Those are things that if not corrected, they will have you home, by Martin Luther King Day on your couch, watching the NFL playoffs like the rest of us. It won't be getting ready for no wild card trip or wild card game hosting because you won a division. No. The things that they are struggling with right now, albeit correctable, and we'll get into some of that. Actually, I don't know if the pass rush stuff is correctable because I don't think that's a scheme thing. But some of it is correctable, and if it's not corrected, those are things that'll kill you. Because everybody doesn't have a fatal flaw. Some teams are just like not super great at a thing, and it's like, okay, what are the odds that costs you a game? No. The Seahawks are bad at a couple things right now on either side of the ball that will cost you games. Again, against teams, it doesn't have to be a good team. If you can't affect the passer, you'll lose to me, Chris, and 9 dudes off the street. Maybe that's going too far. But you guys get my point. You let NFL quarterbacks stand back there and throw. Nathan Peterman can carve your ass up. Like I'm not even joking on that. Did Nathan Peterman play today, or was it Trevor Siemian? I saw some tweets about Nathan Peterman when I woke up, and I was very confused.
I don't even, man. Hey, shout out to him if he played.
I think it was Trevor Siemian. I don't know. It was the Bears, I believe. But yeah, that I think they're okay at 6-5. Again, not panicky, but there are some reasons to be like, hey man, we got to fix this shit. The other one, we'll get to the other one, which is being able to run the ball. But I think we got some questions in there. About that. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, we might as well. Let's get the Twitter questions. We got quite a few. And again, we want to thank each and every one of you out there for taking the time to hit us up on Twitter for questions. We appreciate all the love and support. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing going. We'll start off with Ben Satterwaith. Is the defensive problems talent or coaching? And is it concerning to hear Pete basically say they weren't prepared to defend the run in back-to-back games?
Yeah, I thought I was very concerned about what Pete said, in that he basically said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said we basically sold out to stop Devontae from killing us, and we did that at the expense of some run stuff. And without watching the full game back, the way I hear that is we doubled Devontae and created some lighter boxes for them to run against, which that makes a little bit of sense. The problem is when you're doing that against a team that has a fullback, that throws the math off even more. And you can see it on the game-winning run. A team that has a fullback just means that you not only do you have like I think on the fullback run or on the game-winning run, they're not in like that light box, but still, just that fullback he eats up one of your linebackers right there. So really, your numbers aren't in your favor, once they do that. And so I was a little concerned to hear that, because that basically tells me that's like 2 weeks in a row that something like from the preparation / coaching standpoint, like you were talking about earlier, Chris, is led to the on-field product being less than satisfactory. It was benching Brian Monet against the Bucks in anticipation of a lot of quick game, not a lot of running. So you wanted some faster guys in there in the D-line. So you bench your backup nose tackle, and then you get run all over. They basically pivoted from their game script and flip the script on you, and then this game, it's like, you know what? 17 ain't going to kill us. Well, all right, they have another dude named number 28. Or his name's not number 28, but you guys get my point. Like, I think those are two avoidable things. The Bucks thing, that's super avoidable for obvious reasons. You just play Brian Monet and you play the Bucks straight up, and expect your guys to go execute instead of like leaning towards thinking they're going to quick game you to death. The game here, I was kind of disappointed to hear that from Pete because of the way Michael Jackson had been playing to this point, and because of the way Tariq Woolen had been playing to this point, I would have sold out. If anything, I wouldn't have overcompensated one way or the other. But just in terms of building a game plan, I would have just said, you know what? I trust 27. I trust 30. We're going to stop this run. And then when it's time to cover 17, I'm going to trust Tariq. I'm going to trust Mike Jack. Like, that's what I would have done because of how well they had been playing. I would have given them the benefit of the doubt, basically, especially because I would have thought if we stop 28, we're going to get in some obvious passing situations, and then we're going to be able to maybe unleash our guys, and then we can, get creative with some of our stuff. And if we unleash our pass rush guys, 27 and 30 don't have to cover 17 that long, so that's why I would have did the plan that way. Instead, it was like, nah, we're going to dedicate some bodies to this Devontae Adams cat. He ain't going to kill us. And it hurt him a little bit. I just think they did that the wrong way. Not to say they were just like, we're going to let Josh run all over us. That was not the game plan. But the way they approached it that made it a possibility. And I would not have done it that way. The good thing about that, I guess, is that it's correctable. You don't play Josh Jacobs every week, just like you don't play Tom Brady every week. But you're not putting your guys in position to succeed, I don't think. We use those phrases with coaches, and sometimes we don't get into specifics of what that means. I think today was a example. I thought Tariq would have done just fine against Devontae in some obvious passing situations. Mike Jack did do well in a few obvious passing situations. Instead, including the third down touchdown to Foster. How do you say the tight end last name?
Moreau.
The third down touchdown to him to tie the game. Mike Jack has Devontae bottled up. That's why Derek doesn't throw it there. We do got that. Yeah, throw that.
Put the wrong one in. Yeah, I'll throw it in 1 second.
Yeah, so like Mike Jack, for our YouTube people, Chris gonna put the on the screen. So like Mike Jack does his part and he forces kind of Derek to go somewhere else, and then on the third down that what's his name drops. I think the tight end is the one who has a drop on one of those third down.
Foster Moreau, yeah.
Yeah, that's cover one, I want to say. And I think it's Mike Jack guarding Devontae in the slot. And he plays him well enough to the point that Derek goes somewhere else with the ball. So I would have trusted them a little bit more with that. So I think that was to answer that question to start things off. I do think that was a little concerning because it just seems like the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is what legitimately led up to the Sunday result, and it seems like it was avoidable in both the Bucks game and today against the Raiders.
This one is from @BamSeason. What's up with this two-man front? I get staying in cover 6, but that leaves a lot of holes when teams are running the football. Would rather see single high cover 3.
Yeah, so that piggybacks. I think the two-man front. I think single high. Or they're talking about the two highs.
Two high safeties.
Yeah, which you basically do that saying, hey, we're not going to give up nothing explosive over the top of us. Instead, at the sacrifice of potentially being outgapped in the run game. Not the craziest thing. There's plenty of ways to stop the run from a too high look. The Rams have been pretty good at it the last few years, and whether they have Brandon Staley or whoever's coordinating the defense now down there in LA, you can still do it. It just puts a lot of the onus on your defensive line, which to this point, at least before the Bucks game, those guys have been handling it. Shelby's had been kicking ass. Al Woods, Brian Monet, Puna Ford, Q Jeff, and they had some of them plays today. It basically just says, hey, we trust our D-line to handle this in the run game. We trust our linebackers. And if we need to, our safeties can fit that run from depth. They don't got to be right in there in that cover 3 single high stuff. Today, that was just not the way to go about it. I think in part because, again, it's a team running with the fullback, and their fullback is good too. You remember him, Chris? He was actually the fullback in that game, I think. when Cam Newton came here in the Patriots game in 2020.
And he threw for like 400 and then also ran for like another 90.
Yeah, and it wasn't Cam that did all that. To be clear, it was like the I think that was the fullback in that game. Now I'm not. Now I feel like I'm second guessing myself. I gotta look it up. But I think like anyway, even if that wasn't him, the fullback he's a good one. And you look at again on that, like for example, I think that is him. Is his name Jakob
Yeah.
Johnson or something?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. He's legit. So I think the being like saying, hey, we can stop the run from too high, that is doable. You know, it's not like even a crazy plan. It just puts a lot again on your D line and your guys to win up front, and they just did not. They did not win up front, and also they got really. This was a really inconsistent run fit game from the linebackers. They had some good plays, had some bad plays, and have some good plays and have some bad plays. You know, like I will use Cody as an example. So there was the fourth down stop on the sweep. Amazing play by Cody. Amazing play. And then you got the game winner for the Raiders. And then you got Cody. I'm not really sure where he was going on that play. I don't know run fits all that well, but I just feel like his key there is probably the fullback. And instead he runs it. He comes at it like they have like a single back run, and it just leaves the hole just wide open after Jordan Brooks takes on the fullback. So inconsistent play, good plays here, bad plays there, and then with run fits, you out the wrong gap, man. It can just get ugly fast. So yeah, the too high thing isn't the problem. It's more the execution of it, because there are teams defending the run from a too high look. Everybody ain't playing cover 3 across the league, you know, including the good teams that are good at stopping the run. Today, like these guys just didn't get it done up front. And once you're not getting it done up front, it doesn't matter what the hell, you know, scheme you're running.
This one comes from Ryan Turner at Turns44. In a lot of ways, besides 34 points, that might have been the worst game the Seahawks have played collective, except for Woolen. We know the physical skills are there, but how much growth have you seen since the Seahawks drafted him?
Yeah, Tariq, well, first off, Ryan, you can't just excuse 34 points. Like, the offense did play, generally speaking, played okay. 34 points. You should win with 34 points in a football game. But they had 2 chances to go in the game and didn't get it done. That is the big issue. Tariq's been really impressing me with his ball skills. You know, he didn't really have a lot of production on the ball in college. Part of that is because his arm was broken. So he wasn't going to get a lot of interceptions with a cast on his arm. I think the 2 he did catch, he had a cast on his arm, which is like kind of crazy when you think about it, because the cast he had was huge too, like freaking Mega Man or something like that. You know, it's pretty nuts. But the way he's been playing the ball, you know, whether it's short routes, deep routes, like that's just been really impressive. He's also been really consistent too. If you look at it, Tariq is hardly like beat, you know, because he did some stupid shit. Like you look at the plays that he's given up, like the Mike Williams touchdown. It's just a good little rub from them. The Zach Ertz one wasn't great. Like he's gonna want that one back. But I think generally speaking, if he's not busting a coverage or something like that, which you also don't see a lot of from him outside of like that preseason game, if you're not seeing busts, he's staying with guys consistently, play in and play out. I think he did a good job on Devontae at the times they lined up. So yeah, Tariq is I think he's still gonna be a stud, which is good, because I should have a Tariq Woolen story coming out here pretty soon. If he'd have played bad today, that would have just killed that. Thankfully, he did not. I just got to update some numbers. So shout out to you, Tariq, because boy, that would have sucked.
This one comes from Stephen Collins at One Step Collins. Struggling to stop the run has been a common denominator in all of Seattle's losses, from San Francisco, Jacobs on Sunday, Tampa Bay duo, Patterson, and even Taysom Hill. If you had to create a blame pie, what percentage of blame are you giving to defensive tackles, D ends, linebackers, and scheme/coaching?
Yeah, and on the blame pie, I'm giving a big part to the coaching, I think, because for the reasons I outlined for the last 2 games, I feel like that's pretty, you know, we've gone over that. But even you look at the first 5 weeks, guys still got to fit the stuff, right? So I probably say like 50%. coaching though, and part of it is because if you look at what happened when they got good at stopping the run, it was a tweak by the coaches, i.e., basically admitting, hey, how we were doing this before was not putting you guys in position. Instead, we need to kind of let loose. We need to let our D linemen loose. That started in about week 6. So like you could tell how they were going about it for the first 5 weeks was probably not the right way to go about it. And you could tell with some of their fronts and stuff, those changed too. So you got that part happening. Then you got these last 2 weeks of explaining why the preparation wasn't right. So that, how many games is that, Chris? That's, let's see, 5, 7. So that's 7 of their 11 games. Just how they approached it wasn't even right. So that's why I give 50% there. The guys still got to do it. I probably say like 25% then goes up front, specifically with the D-line and stuff. And then I'd probably say another 25% on you got your second level, your LB guys. Because like I said, I just think they've had some good plays, and they had bad plays. And the bad plays by the LBs, when you see them, I feel like they're almost all touchdowns. You know, like I feel like every time we talk about like a bad run fit or something like that this year, it's like a touchdown. Like, oh, this is very clearly a problem with the guy not being in the right gap or whatever. So yeah, I would say 50% coach, scheme, whatever, probably about 25% D-line, and then 25% with your LBs. That's a lot though. That's tough.
Not good.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
Our next one is from Mookie Alexander. Has Darrell Taylor been the biggest disappointment on the Seahawks defense this year?
Yeah, Darrell's lack of production is very surprising. Let me check Darrell's numbers here while we're on. So he's played in 10 games. He missed a game? I didn't know that. Which game did Darrell miss? I can't remember. Anyway, he has only 5 quarterback hits for the year. That's not saying much. He's got 7 quarterback hurries, only 12 pressures. Yeah, these are some pretty underwhelming numbers. He's got 3 sacks. I think they're all strip sacks too, which is actually quietly very impressive. But just it's not there. The consistency is not there. The production is not there. Like for example, you know, Uchenna has 16 quarterback hits. You know, Darrell has 5. You know, they played in the same number of games. Although I don't know why it says Darrell's only played in 10. I can't remember him missing a game. Either way, you guys get my point. The production's not there. I thought it would be there. It's not a lot of one-on-one matchups that are being won. Just the impact is just not there. You know, I very rarely have watched the games this year and be like, man, 52 in blue or 52 in white is like legit. I felt like that against the Chargers. You know, felt like that against, I think, whatever. He had another game where he had strip sack. I think it was Arizona, maybe. So it's been there, but it's been flashes. It hasn't been like consistent week to week to week. And that is very surprising. I just did not see that. He just looked so comfortable, you know, in the scheme last year. And his role hasn't changed that much. And so far, yeah, the impact is not there. I'd say that is probably been the biggest surprise in one way or the other, positive or negative. It's the lack of production that they're seeing from DT.
This next one comes from Tough Guy Football. Is Clint hurt? He's on the hot seat, right? The defense regression is very concerning.
No, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say a hot seat. It looks like Darrell didn't play against the Cardinals the second time. That's what it is. No, hot seat's too far, man. You got to give the guys the chances to go out there, for the coaches. I mean, you got to give the guys a chance to go out there. All right, develop a plan. All right, did the plan work? No. All right, let's see if we can fix what went wrong. Because that's what coaching is too. Coaches are problem solvers. You know, you got to have solutions to whatever the problems the offense presents. You know, or defense, either way. And we talked about that in previous podcasts, and that's why I was so high on the Seahawks for a few weeks there, because they had solutions for whatever the other team was trying to do to them.
Yeah,
they did. They had some really good solutions, and you can see a little bit of that in today's game, actually. You know, like for example, I'll use Cody's interception, Quandre's second interception. That play was set up because the Seahawks saw on film that the Raiders have a version of the tight end play that Jordan Brooks nearly intercepted against the Bucs. That play worked for the Bucs pretty much, like it was open. The Seahawks saw that it was a vulnerability of theirs, knew that the Raiders were going to put that in. knew when to, alert to it, pre-snap. Cody saw it based on the stuff that the coaches had seen and coached them up on. He executes it perfectly, ends up in an interception. Great job of preparing your guys, putting them in position to succeed. They go out there and execute. Perfect. But then you have some of the other stuff we're talking about, where they're, not a lot of missed tackles, run fits aren't there. So it's a little bit of both, which I would expect from a first-time coordinator. Your team's going to have some games where they look great, probably. Your team's going to have some games where it looks like the other coach out-coached you or whatever. That's going to happen. I wouldn't say hot seat. Hot seat is when that's either you have the worst defense in the league, which they don't, or you're consistently getting these games are getting out-coached, quote unquote, are stacking up. But I don't think we're at that point yet. Like they could who they play next week?
The Panthers.
They got the Panthers next week. Why did I think it was? I feel like I thought I was going to be on the road this next week. Oh no, yeah, they're playing the Rams.
Oh, okay. I skipped the game.
I had a feeling I was on the road this weekend, this next weekend. But yeah, like they could very easily shut down whoever the hell is starting for the Rams at quarterback, shut down their run game, and we're like, oh, Clint Hurts got it again. So I wouldn't say hot seat, but I will say that this is another test in terms of finding the problems. Your pass rush is a problem, your run D is a problem. Can you fix those things? Can you find solutions to what's killing you? If the answer is yes, it'd be fine. If the answer is no, like if we're asking this after the Jets game or something, then we can have a more serious discussion.
This next one is from Chris Leeper at Rosebug_22. The defense clearly needs a full rebuild. Who are the keepers long term? Feels like there's so little talent. So he names, I guess, half the defense. Tariq Woolen, Nwosu, Darrell Taylor, Trey Brown, Quandre Diggs, Poona Ford, and so Mike, should they be looking for a full rebuild defensively?
No, I don't think so. Let me look. See, keepers. I see a lot of keepers on here when I go. I got the box score in my hand. If you wondering what I'm looking down at on YouTube. Quandre, keeper. Ryan Neal, keeper. Tariq, keeper. Let's see. Shelby, keeper. Uchenna, keeper. Kobe, Bryant, keeper. Jordan Brooks, keeper. So I don't think there's anyone who's like, yeah, you really got to upgrade from this dude. Like, obviously, they're probably not going to have Al Woods long term. I think Al's like 35. Same thing with Bruce Irvin, who's also, I think, 35. Starting 2 35-year-old guys on defense is pretty crazy now I think about it. But it just means they're still going to have to dedicate some draft resources on defense here coming up. But I do think they have a good foundation. Like, that's a lot of guys who are under, like, age 28, who are going to be nice in this little window here where they could be a really solid team. I don't think they need a full rebuild, but I do think we are seeing where the holes are. Like, it's very clearly, for example, rushing the passer. Because that's not. I mean, look at these. I got the numbers pulled up. Like, Uchenna has 7 sacks. Great. He's 16 quarterback hits. Also really solid. 38 quarterback pressures. Also really solid. Pressure percentage at about 14%. All these numbers are very solid. No one else has more than 3 sacks.
That's crazy.
Hugh Jeff has 3. Poona has 3. DT has 3. And
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, other guys have some. Like, Cody has a couple. Big Al has a couple. Shelby has a couple. Boy, Mafe has 2 somehow. I don't know where that came from. Let me see. That can't be right. Oh, he has 1, but then the other one is just Jimmy G falling down for no gain. So it counted as a sack. I think one of Cody's is like that too, actually. So they just need a pass rusher. Pretty bad. That's the short version of that.
This one is from Joe Smith at JSmitty22. After the Giants game, it looked like the run D was solid. What changed against the Bucs and Raiders? And what can they do, if anything, to correct that?
Yeah, they just got to start winning up front, the point of attack a little better. And they also need to, they got to cut down on, so that's the main thing, winning at the point of attack. You look at a lot of these runs, and Josh Jacobs in particular, he's so good, by the way. Josh Jacobs is very good. Can I go into Josh Jacobs' little appreciation thing real quick?
Why not?
It'll tie into a little bit to Ken Walker. Like for me personally, as just a kind of a fan of football, I would like the Josh Jacobs style of runner, in that like he is so north and south all the time, and you can see it in his averages. Like he averaged like 6.9 a pop today. I think he averages like 5 or something like that for the for the year. Here, I'll look it up while I'm talking. But he has a lot of like intermediate runs, like Josh Jacobs for 5, Josh Jacobs for 6, Josh Jacobs for 7, Josh Jacobs for 8, and Josh Jacobs for 11. And you're not seeing a ton, like he doesn't have a ton of long runs. He's not like Ken. He just like is always going forward. And you see it, he had like 9 first down runs today. The Seahawks only have 5 first down runs as a running back core the last 2 weeks. You know, like Josh consistently goes forward a lot. And he I mean, part of that is he's hard to tackle. But like even today, like he had one where Puna Ford kind of wraps him up and he like wiggles on top of Puna and picks up like an extra yard. He's just so good at that. Oh wow, he leads the league in rushing now too. Let me see how many first down runs does Josh Jacobs have. He leads the league in first down runs with 67. You know who's second? I'll give you 2 guesses as who's that second. You're probably not gonna get it, but
Saquon Barkley.
Nope.
Another good rushing. Jalen Hurts.
Oh, sorry. Only running backs.
Oh, damn. I feel like
Yeah,
I do not know. No.
Jamal Williams of the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
48 rushes for Jamal.
That makes sense.
I think he leads the league in touchdown rushes. So like, yeah, he goes forward a lot too. But Jamal has 48 first down runs, according to True Media, is what I'm looking at. That Josh Jacobs has 20 more than him, or 19 more than the guy in second place. Like that just shows you how often he's just going forward. And I like that running style, and it really presents a lot of problems. Whereas Ken's kind of the opposite. He has a lot of negative runs and then has like big runs. You know, it's just like a boom or bust thing. Whereas Josh is just kind of more consistently just giving you positive yardage. I just like that about how he runs, and they won't face that every week. So that's one reason why I think the run numbers will get better. You know, they'll play the Panthers, they'll play the Rams. Who else they got? The Niners, that could get ugly. But even like the Chiefs don't run it super, you know, like they can run it, but that's not like their bag. Same thing with the Jets, you know, like they can, but that's not really their bag. And then they play the Rams again. So like the overall run numbers, these final 6 games will probably look okay. Today, I just think that it was a little bit getting schemed up, but also like they went against like the perfect style of runner. I would love to have a guy like Josh. Not to say someone like Ken's style is bad. I'm saying for me personally, that's what I would like. Get me first downs when I hand it to you. I don't need you to run for 70. If you do, that's fine. But just get me first downs and I'll handle the rest.
This next one is from JB. Our linebackers aren't good enough. I don't care how much physical talent Brooks has.
JB is fed up.
He ain't getting the job done. Sorry. That's not a question. Am I crazy to think that?
Yo, JB is fed up. I understand the frustration with the linebacking group, and I think this is one of those kind of natural growing pains that I really feel like people like. I think that those two can play fine, like Jordan and Cody. Like I'm not even really nothing you can do about it now anyway. But I do think like when they released Bobby, I envisioned games like this. You know, I don't want to toot my own horn necessarily on that and sound like an asshole, but like I'm sure a lot of people could. Like if you told me, like you just tell somebody, hey man, you know the Seahawks cut Bobby Wagner. Did they sign a linebacker? Nope. Oh damn, they're gonna have some problems. You know, like that's not even that really a diss to the other 2 guys. It's the impact of losing a guy like B-Wags. Now, granted, the Rams defense ain't like steel ass. I don't know if they're ass necessarily.
You're right, Mike. Their offense is the problem.
Yeah, their offensive numbers are disgusting. So I don't know. I have to go watch some more Rams film. But you guys get my point there.
We'll have Jordan on. That'll be fun.
Oh, I need to ask Jordan about coming on the pod on Tuesday. Anyway, I think that it's very fair to be frustrated with that group because the inconsistency and the youth does show. Where they have some amazing plays, like Jordan has one. He had one today, man, where he just takes on which lineman did he just destroy? I think it was Dylan Parham. Oh, that's the rookie. That's the rookie from like Memphis or something. Whatever. His school wears blue. I know that. I remember him pre-draft. Like he just takes him on and smokes him. And then makes the tackle on Josh for like a gain of like 3 or 4 or something. Just a great play. Just hits the block, makes the play. And then you have other plays where like the game winner, for example, it's like take on the fullback, then you don't get a hand on the guy, and then it's just it's the give and take there. Linebacker's tough in today's game. You're in the run fit, you're in the pass concept in every snap, and that's tough. But you gotta do it. It's the name of the game. And so I think that those guys being frustrated with them is very fair. There's nothing that's going to change about like that from a personnel standpoint. These are the two guys, and you got to rock with it. But I think some of this is natural growing pains. This is what it is. You got two young cats. Jordan, 25. This is Cody's first time as a starter. They're going to have some great plays. They're going to have some bad plays. Cody. I think Cody's game today really just shows what that can look like. Cody has some amazing play. That 4th down stop was a great play. That's a great game-changing play, clutch situation, reads his keys, does his job. And you got the game winner where neither linebacker gets a hand on the running back. So I think the question to answer the question from JB, you're not tripping to think that like the linebackers coach is probably is going to be just as frustrated as you are watching that film. Either right now or Monday or whatever, because there's going to be a lot of inconsistencies in there that led to some big plays.
This next one is from Stovehawk. Who is the ideal person the Seahawks should draft in 2023 or 24 to slowly overtake the role of an aging Quandre who is regressing week by week?
Oof, there's a lot. There's a lot being insinuated in that question there. We're all aging, by the way. I don't know what age it gets decided that someone's aging. None of us are getting younger. Like, we're all aging. Tariq Woolen is aging, in theory. He's only getting older every day. He's gotten a few seconds older in the time since I've started talking. Anyway, that's just a funny little phrase that people say that kind of throws me off. But I don't think Quandre is regressing week by week. Chris, I think we're going to end up on this show ended up like sounding like Quandre apologist, because I feel like every week it's somebody asking, is he the worst safety in the world, essentially, and it's our job to be like, I don't think it's.
He had 2 interceptions on Sunday. He was in the right. He knew it. He was where he needed to be and made plays.
Yeah, I think
he missed one tackle.
Yeah, I saw he missed a tackle on a toss, on like a 3rd and 4th toss, and then he got beat on a touchdown by the running back. That's just a straight up. You just gotta guard your guy. I also think he had bad eyes on the game tying touchdown. You could tell like he's kind of like watching Devontae, and then the tight end just runs right behind him, and it looks like Jordan Brooks is cooked. But look where Jordan comes from. For everybody who can see this on YouTube, Jordan's in the middle of the field and ends up covering a guy who ends up by the back pylon, and they're not in man. So like that's it should show you how kind of out of place that is. Goddamn, poor guy got took out on that. Whoever that was in the suit. No, I don't think he's. To answer the question, I have not looked at draft safeties yet. That's probably a position I'm probably not going to dive into until we get close to draft time, or January, February, whatever. But I want to push back on the regressing every week notion on Quandre. Like a lot of the plays he's either making or not making is pretty consistent from last year and the year before when he was a Pro Bowl guy. I just think that in this new scheme, he's asked to do a little bit of different stuff. You're not seeing a lot of single high post stuff. But even then, if you guys remember, think about it. There would be plenty of games consistently where you wouldn't hear anything. Like you wouldn't hear Quandre's name because he was doing his job. That's just kind of how it works. He's off the screen, taking away stuff. And you can see it here too. He had a lot of plays in coverage where like he does his job so the ball doesn't go there. Safeties and corners have a lot of those plays that just don't make highlight reels or whatever. But yeah, I think Chris today, tough crowd, man. You get 2 picks and people want to draft your replacement. God damn, NFL is a tough biz, man. I know he had a couple bad plays today, but like as usual, here's what I usually say on Quandre. He's low on the list of things, that when I was like looking through the game, I was like, huh, yeah. Number 6 didn't come up very high on the list of things. It was like that they got to fix. I think there are some things up front a little higher on the list. Not to say he was perfect or nothing, but you get what I'm saying. I'm rambling on Quandre now. But yeah, Chris, we're going to be the official Quandre apologist here pretty soon, which I'm fine with because I think the tape will show that he's not nearly as bad as it. I don't know. Are they talking about him on TV or something? Is that maybe why we're getting these?
To be honest,
Quandre?
I very rarely hear much when I watch the broadcast. I'm so locked in. So it's, unless it's a clear, egregious, like, oh, he blew this, which, like the Abdullah touchdown, that was one where, okay, he got beat there.
Yeah, that was pretty clear.
Yeah, but so no, I don't recall the broadcast saying that he was playing terrible or having a bad day per se. I know he had a couple of rough plays here and there, but yeah, I get it. This next one is from Jerry Griesel. Did the Seahawks even try to pressure the quarterback on Sunday?
Allegedly. Nah, for real. That's one of those things I don't have much of a, I don't want to say like sympathy or empathy is the word. That seems too heavy. But like when the numbers look as bad as they do, that just really is concerning to me. Because as much as now you only get so many chances to really rush the passer because there's screen passes, there's play action stuff, and like only so often do you truly like getting a drop back. Like the Seahawks, you get a lot of stuff because boy, the Seahawks don't really do a lot of play action at all. They just getting empty and then just let Geno just carve teams up, which is fine. It works. But like the Seahawks, on the other hand, teams do a really good job scheming them out of obvious pass rush opportunities, man. Like whether it's the Bucks or who else has been good at that? The Rams have been good at that in the past. The Niners have been really good at that, like not making sure that Jimmy G's not in harm's way a ton. The Chargers have been really good at that with Herbert. Like just not even just the quarterback. I'm just saying scheming up, calling it, keeping the team out of whack. They've been doing teams have just consistently done a good job against them, and that is really concerning for me. But at the same time, I do think guys are just not winning their battles, and I don't really. That's tough. And Chris, I don't think they want to get into a place where they want to be blitzing a lot. They're not a big blitzing team. They're gonna have to get to that point here if they don't really turn it up against these next few teams on the schedule. It helps because they should be able to get to the Panthers or get to Sam Darnold or Baker, whoever the hell they're starting these days, and they should be able to get to whoever the hell the Rams are starting these days. Bryce Perkins, whoever that is. They should be able to get to him, but if they can't, yeah, we're talking about some. That's where you're going to overhaul a position group if they can't get to those two dudes.
This next one is from Tony K at Karate K84. I'm still waiting for Geno to have that fourth quarter game winning drive. There was a stat posted, so I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate, but he or she is saying there's this stat posted that there was a 0 points in the 2-minute drill. Is it Geno's decision making or Waldron's play calling that needs fixing?
Yeah, so they don't have a 2-minute drill in a fourth quarter this year where they scored any points. That's probably a legit stat. They haven't had a ton of opportunities in that regard. They've closed the door on some teams, but haven't like had that 2-minute like drive. I don't really think it's not a Geno thing because they've had like for example the Giants drive where they go like 5 plays, 75 yards, throw it the whole time. And score. Like that was a fourth quarter drive, I want to say, or at least a second half drive. It was all passes, and they were able to, make shit shake. Here, hold on. I'm about to let me pull up Geno's drive after the interception. When did he throw an interception on that, Chris?
Talking about Sunday's game against the Raiders?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, here we go. After the interception, you got a 6-yard pass to DK, and then they go empty and then throw another pass to DK. Then you go empty again, no running backs. Just next, it was just only him back there. You go empty, you hit Will Disley again. You run it, and then there's a play action pass, and you get a run, and then you get the TD to lock it, which I don't think was a play action. I think that was just a traditional drop back. So like they don't need necessarily I don't need it to be like a 2-minute situation because I know they can throw the ball. But yeah, it is. I am a little bit concerned, as we talked about earlier, that just hasn't happened. Again, they haven't had a ton of opportunities for it. But yeah, it's not been looking good in that regard. But I don't think it's because Geno can't drop back and throw. Again, look at all the numbers Geno's been having these past few games. And it ain't like he's doing it with the help of a run game. Geno threw for 328 yards today. Like he was eating, and that's without a run game. Ken had 14 for 26. Oof, that is awful. That man lost 13 yards on one run.
Yeah, that was insane.
13 yards.
I was telling brother, just go down, man. Where you going?
Yeah, that is pretty bad. But yeah, that is a funky stat though on a 2-minute thing. I can't believe when you said it like pre-show, I was like, "There's no way." We went looked it up.
It was damn. I should have saved it, but it was. I want to say week. I just pull up the schedule right quick. Seahawks, because I remember what game it was once I see the week. It would have been that last drive, obviously, when they went down to win it. So that would be
Victory?
Yeah. So Falcons they lost that one though, Mike. So the Lions, October 2nd, because they ended up winning that game. Although it wasn't the quote unquote 2-minute, they win it because Geno won it with 15 seconds left and Detroit can't respond. But I'm thinking that was the game where he closed the door per se, but against Atlanta, he did not win the game. He threw that interception. He was looking for Tyler Lockett, and it was third or fourth in a mile. I know that much. It was a long ways to go. He just threw it up, and that was intercepted, and that ended the game. But that was a chance there. September 25th against the Falcons, had a chance to win the game, and it didn't happen. And then on Sunday against the Raiders, had a chance to close that deal, be the guy, be the reason why the Seahawks won, and obviously it didn't go that way.
Although I do think today was less about what Geno could or could not do. I think when you have those sacks, man, and that pressure that Max Crosby's burning down, like pull up the for our YouTube people, pull up the Max Crosby like pressure that he gets on 3rd and 5 in overtime. Yeah, our YouTube people can see it right now. Like this play, come on, man. Like Max just comes flying off the edge, and as soon as Geno gets to the top of his drop, he can't do nothing. And then you got the 3rd and 10 one in the fourth quarter. As soon as Geno gets to the top of his drop, Max Crosby's at his chin. Like there's nothing. I mean, Mahomes, Brady, like it's just so hard. That's where you need Russell Wilson prime Russell Wilson escapability to get around those plays. Because when your right tackle is just getting beat by one of the best defensive players in football, there's really not much you can do about it.
This one's from Alex Holden. It seems like either DK is only given short routes or Geno only hits him short. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. Why isn't he stretching the field more?
Well, the other team knows he's fast too. And what they are doing is they're playing off of him and they're doubling him. And that's opened stuff up for other guys. We did a couple of film breakdowns. We looked at that. He's still getting his long ball shots, but teams are not. Look, man, how do I want to put this? Teams are scared, man. They ain't just lining up. They best corner with DK and saying, go be blessed. No help. No, man. Teams aren't doing that. You know why teams aren't doing that? Because they have internet. And they can see DK's highlights. And a lot of his highlights, especially the first 2 years of his career, are teams doing that shit. Saying, hey, man, go guard DK. Yeah, come up there and press him up. Nah, you ain't really getting no help like that unless he goes up in the middle. No. Because Russ and DK were torching people on that. So now in year 3 is this year 3 for DK?
Yeah.
2019, 2020. This is year 4.
Look at that. Suck at math. There it is.
Yeah, it's year 4 for DK. In year 4, teams have decided you're going to have to kill us underneath. And they're doing a good job of it for the most part. But yeah, other teams get paid too. Teams ain't just lining up against DK and saying, "Yep, beat us if you can, man." Hell nah, because they trying to win. So if you notice, even the guys who do kill teams like that are the great receivers in the league right now who are getting played in a similar fashion as DK is getting played. Look at the other ways the team's getting them the ball or how much their big plays come off yak. Look at Justin Jefferson gets a lot of yak. Devontae Adams does as well. Cooper Kupp does as well. AJ Brown. I know Jamar Chase is hurt right now, but when he's in, he gets a lot of yak. And that's because teams aren't just letting them run by anybody. They got to catch stuff, make people miss underneath. Like the Seahawks are taking the defense gives them. That's not the problem. DK is going to probably have like 1,000 yards this season or whatever. We're going to have a decent season. But the reason you're not just seeing a bunch of go balls is because defensive coordinators get paid too.
This next one is from Paul Todd at PTodd62. Why did they continue to leave Abe Lucas one-on-one against Crosby after he was getting beaten pretty much all game?
Yeah, and that question is why I'm glad we got the overtime clip, in here for our YouTube folks. Like, after Abe got beat on the 3rd and 10 in regulation, right after the overturned DK catch, the Seahawks staff, they ain't no dummies. They got internet too. Well, actually, they were there, so I don't need internet. But they said, you know what we're going to do? We are going to chip Max Crosby the next time we get an obvious passing situation. What happened? They got 3rd and 5. And what does Noah Fant do? He's there, supposed to chip. Now, this ain't a great chip. That's I don't even know if I should call that a chip. I'm not like a chip technique expert, but I did have some people who know this a little better than me. I sent them this clip after the game. They was like, yeah, Mike, that's not a good chip. He basically pushes Max and propels him around Abe, and it just does not work. That needed to be a legit double team or like a legit chip, and that just was not. But I'm not gonna say that's the coaching staff just leaving Abe out to dry. Like they sent him help. The help just did not help.
I mean, damn! Look how far Max Crosby is off compared to everybody else on the D line. My man is like 8 yards beyond to the left of wherever.
Yeah, he's putting a wide 9 alignment for
my goodness.
For sure, yeah. And Noah's supposed to help there, and he just doesn't help. But yeah, I wanted to put that clip in there just so people could see like it's not just the Seahawks just let Abe out, left their rookie tackle up there against Max and let him get barbecued. Nah, man, they tried to send help. Max is work. Yeah, no, that's before we go to the next question. That is what it is. Just an elite game-wrecking defensive lineman can do for your defense. By the way, like you can send help and it don't matter. That's what people keep asking me what they should draft. A guy like that.
Yeah,
draft somebody like that because boy, that dude is different.
This one is from Tom, Mr. Tommy G Man. Bearing in mind that saying goodbye to Russ and opting for picks was likely the correct answer, at what point does ownership start asking how viable is it to continue with Pete as the head coach, given that the defense has been shaky the last 4 to 5 years?
Very viable. It turns out, as long as they continue to draft well, it'll be viable as hell. That's the answer to that. Though I do remember making this point to people. I think it was when the Seahawks were maybe like week 5 or 6 or something like that. And when Russ was really sticking it up, over in Denver, and he's still sticking it up in Denver, which is
nice.
Kind of crazy to see. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting over there.
Hot ass over there, man.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyway, I bring that up to say that I was telling people like, guys, both teams might have lost the trade. Saying the Seahawks and the Broncos. The Broncos for obvious reasons, but at the time I was making the point that the Seahawks chose Pete, and in part in choosing Pete is like suggesting that you're going to have a good defense because you got this defensive mastermind. And at the time, their defense was garbage. So I was like, well, they fixed their offense by getting rid of Russ, but by keeping their defensive mastermind head coach, their defense is still not good. So it's like no one really wins. And I still think the Seahawks won the trade, but that kind of puts it in perspective, though. Like part of choosing Pete is choosing to also have a good defense. He's defensive guy. You let him pick the defensive coaches. He picks the kind of the philosophy, the scheme, and has his guys go implement it. Like picking him should mean picking good defense. And like the person asking the question suggested, they haven't had an elite defense in since like 2016 or something like that. That's pretty bad. But as long as they keep drafting well, though, it's going to be very viable to have, Pete and John running the show.
This one is from Jeff. If the Seahawks end up with a top 3 pick via Denver and either of the top 2 quarterbacks, Young or Stroud, are available for the Seahawks, should they take one of those guys, factoring how rare it is to be in that position?
No. Don't take Bryce Young. Don't take CJ Stroud. I think Geno's playing well enough. You can get by with a couple more years of that as your guy. He played well today too. I think Geno's playing fine. I still think he's like a Pro Bowl lock in the NFC. Which is crazy. I think he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. Keep him. I think the pick needs to be. I know people are curious about this too. What you do with the first round pick if you're what you do with Denver's first round pick. I think it almost has to be a defensive lineman. I don't care if it's a tackle, but it should be somebody. Put it this way, I'll apply the homie Shil Kapadia's 2-minute rule here. Chris, if we talked about the 2-minute rule on here?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule, as Shil defines it, shout out to the homie Shil. When you're assessing a player, ask yourself this before you take them, or you spend like a great deal of assets on the player. In the last 2 minutes of a game, and we're trying to win, will this guy be on the field? And the answer with like a run-stuffing defensive tackle is probably no. But the answer with the pass rusher, probably yes. So when it's winning time, is that guy on the field? And so I think that's a good rule to apply for the Seahawks. If they get like a top 5 pick, ask yourself this. In the last 2 minutes of a game, either on offense or defense, if we're trying to win, is this guy on the field? The answer is yes. Take the guy. The answer is no, because of his position, don't take him.
This next one comes from Katie Bourne at Big Swing Theory. So often we hear the expression of teams playing down to the level of their opponent. Do you believe that's really a thing? If so, could that explain the Hawks' performance these past 2 games?
I do think that's a thing. I don't think that's what happened the last 2 weeks. They're never going to play down to a team with Tom Brady. Full stop. Doesn't matter. Does not. The other team has Tom Brady. People respect him in this game way too freaking much to play down to that. I don't think that's what happened with the Raiders. I do think that today just shows you that, we say every given Sunday, anybody can win. And it's not just because it's any given Sunday. It's because any given Sunday, the other team could have blue chip players. It's not like college where you can just legitimately have a roster that's better than every person on the other team's roster. NFL ain't like that. The Raiders ain't got but what, Chris, like 4 star players, 5 max, like maximum, not Crosby. But you got Max Crosby, Devontae, Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr. Right? I'm missing anybody? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, those are their stars. Every team's mostly got a couple guys like that. It just depends on what position they're. I think we talked about this on the preview pod with Tashawn. Everybody's got stars. It's just a matter of do those guys deliver every game, week in and week out. And the answer for the Raiders has been no. But this week that happened. I don't think they played down to the Raiders. Their stars up front balled out, and it just worked out better for them. Those guys got busy. It wasn't just their stars. Number 97 for the Raiders, what's his name? And
Billings.
Yeah. Billings and Bilal Nichols. They played great. Those guys are not stars, but they played great. But I think that's part of people think it's playing down. Now every team's got a couple dudes like that. The Panthers have a couple dudes like that. Panthers got J.C. Horn, that defensive tackle that they've got. They got Brian Burns. They got DJ Moore. If them 4 dudes play really well on any given Sunday, the Panthers can beat whoever the hell they want because those dudes are all nasty. So the Raiders are just built like that too. They have like 3 or 4 blue chip dudes, and when those dudes show up, they can beat anybody.
Last one comes from at Fix Cards. With the second pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select
the best pass rusher on the board. Don't care who it is, man. Don't even care if it's the scheme. Just take them. Like that's what they need. It makes the game too hard for the opponent when you're affecting the quarterback. Just look at it. Geno was operating at a high level pretty much most of the game. Max Crosby comes in, makes 2 plays pretty much. one in overtime and one on regulation. Changes the game. Gets his team off the field by himself, pretty much. Think about that, Chris. He ain't getting no big time help on that 3rd and 10. He just ran through Abe Lucas. That's it. He ain't getting no big time help really on 3rd and 5. He just blew by the chip and then Abe Lucas and it got to Geno. You know, he didn't need the other 10 guys really doing shit. You know, draft a dude like that with your first pick. You know, and then use the next pick on Deion Henley from Wazoo.
Go Cougs. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, we can get the Cougs. I know the result didn't go the way we wanted, but number 1 for the Cougs, yeah, that's
He's a problem.
He's a guy who can play on Sundays, man. That's a guy. That's a top 100 player, I think, in terms of inside linebacker. You know, I'm a little biased, but you know, people keep asking us about the linebackers. Number 1 for Wazoo. You know, keep him around. Keep him in state. Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
Potential.
Yeah.
Well, look, that was another episode of Seahawks Man to Man. I want to thank you guys for all the Twitter questions. We appreciate all the love and support. We'll come back later this week, so Wednesday, with a preview of the low Los Angeles Rams. Poor Jordan. That team won a Super Bowl, and this team ain't sniffing the playoffs this season. So that is wild. Huh?
Did they lose again?
Yes, they are 3-8.
Oh, they played the Chiefs. Oh, yeah, that's bad. Yes, that's.
They were going to lose, but it's crazy to see that they're actually 3-8.
Yeah, that's bad. We got to figure out. We got to talk to. I got to hit up Jordan, make sure she can get on the show.
I don't want to do it, guys. The team sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. First time playing against Bobby Wagner though.
Yeah, I hope he has a good game, but
yeah, that's rough, man. Seahawks are in a not good spot. They just got to fix some things, man.
Yeah,
they got.
This was the game that on the schedule, like, they should win this game. The Raiders, they don't play good football. Look at that. All 3 of us picked the Raiders to win, and we were all wrong. I'm still right with the Seahawks, though. I'll tell you that. Tell you now, I'm picking the Rams to lose. So there it is.
Yeah, I think sometimes it does take that wake up call. You know, it was getting run on by Taysom Hill. That was the wake up in week 5. Maybe getting run on by Josh for 200 gazillion freaking yards. Maybe that'll do it. That'll be the thing that gets guys to, all right, this shit stops today.
Yeah,
we'll see. If not, they lose to the Rams next week. It's gonna be even worse.
Damn, they lose to the Rams, man. That would be bad, but
I don't think they will.
What I tell you, Mike, I'm done picking against them boys. I might be 0-6, 0-7 for the rest of the year if they lose every game. It is what it is. I'm picking them to win.
I'm with you.
Well, we'll catch you guys later. Enjoy the rest of the week. We'll talk to you later. Peace out.